be on the radio, the way they all talk. As long as the show steady on, I can never fall off. They tune in too heavy though, I can never call off. Take the shot on every go, sorry I'm a ball hog. This that ball talk, this that ball talk, this that ball talk, this that ball talk, yeah. This that ball talk, this that ball talk, this that ball talk, this that ball talk, yeah.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to Ball Talk with your guys' favorite sports girl, Brandy. I'm here in the building. A lot has been going on in the sports world, especially today. The NFL has been driving me crazy because there's been stuff going on every few minutes in the NFL right now. But remember, like I say every week, all the music that you guys are going to be hearing during the break is from current or former athletes. A lot of them have good music, so you guys definitely want to give them a listen. If you guys have been listening to the previous shows, you guys heard some music from Damian Lillard, Amon Shumpert, Tracy Howard, Chad Thomas. They've played in the NFL and NBA. I'm also going to be adding some songs in from Lonzo Ball, Deion Sanders, and Le'Veon Bell has a song with Lil Durk, so you guys are going to be listening to that during the breaks. But like I said, there's a ton going on in the sports world right now, especially this week has been crazy, but always the first few months, beginning of the year, always starts out crazy. But especially this week, like I said, yesterday was Selection Sunday for the NCAA basketball tournament. March Madness is officially here. It's going to be starting tomorrow, as well as NBA regular season is almost over because teams have about 14 games remaining. And the NFL window opened up today at noon. That's why I said the NFL has been driving me crazy, because the teams today were able to start contacting those free agents to begin negotiations. And then lastly, we can't forget about the MLB, because right now it is spring training and the opening day will be coming up very soon in just about 2 weeks on March 30th. First, we are going to start with the NFL. Since I said today, the madness began as that window opened up at noon, where teams can start contacting those free agents to begin making contracts. Last week, I also spoke about how Derek Carr signed with the New Orleans Saints. If you guys don't know, Derek Carr did sign a 4-year deal that is worth $150 million, with $100 of that guaranteed to be in New Orleans. Now, him signing with the Saints means all 4 NFC South teams will have a different starting quarterback to begin this season than they all did last year in 2022 in Week 1. Now, the NFC South was one of the weakest divisions last season. Also, the 1973 AFC West is the only other division in NFL history in which every team had a different starting QB in its season opener than the previous season. Also, you guys know last season, the Saints had Andy Dalton as their quarterback along with Jameis Winston, but Andy Dalton did take over once Jameis got hurt. Andy Dalton is a free agent, but the Saints have offered QB Jameis Winston a reconstructed deal to stay in New Orleans. Now, he does have until this Wednesday to accept the offer. If he doesn't, he will be released from the Saints. Then looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had a pretty good season, and they were able to make it to playoffs after not playing well in 2021 and when they had Urban Meyer as a coach. But they will have a new receiver that will be able to play this upcoming season, as Calvin Ridley has been reinstated by the NFL. Now, if you guys remember, he was suspended for all of last season for betting on games. Ridley hasn't played a game since he stepped away at first. He stepped away to focus on his mental health. That was in October of 2021. And then a month later in November, he was found wagering on games by the NFL. Also, you guys know the Players Tribune is used to putting out articles that are written by athletes to share their story. So in the past couple of days, Calvin Ridley did put out his own article with the Players Tribune. He called it a letter to the game, and he said that he had to get all of this off of his chest before he starts his next chapter in Jacksonville. If you guys haven't read it, I would definitely go give it a read. It was a very good story. He talked about how he knows he messed up and it was the worst mistake of his life by gambling on football. He also mentioned how hard it was to see all the people making jokes on the internet when the news came out about him betting. He also mentioned how before that it even happened, he was depressed, very stressed out, and battling anxiety, and he didn't want to leave the house at all. And at the time, football was the only thing that he would leave for. And then it got to a point where he wasn't okay, and he said he had to step away because his body was breaking down. He also spoke about having a broken foot most of the 2020 season. In 2020, he had a 1,300 yard season with 9 touchdowns, and nobody knew that he was pretty much doing it all on one foot and that he couldn't plant without taking painkillers. And he showed up to camp in 2021 just mentally drained. He also talks about how after a game, when him and his wife and daughter came home, their house had been robbed during the game. It was a very good read. If you guys missed it, definitely go read it. He talks a lot more about his story of how he made it into the NFL and what his childhood looked like and those struggles. And he also talks about the day that the NFL investigators called him when he knew that he was going to get in trouble for going against the NFL rules for betting on his own team. I think he will be a very good fit with the Jacksonville Jaguars, along with them having Trevor Lawrence as their QB. The Jaguars definitely did take a step forward in the right direction this past season. But to end off the Players Tribune article, I think a lot of times people look at athletes or even celebrities thinking that they don't deal with things that everybody goes through with just because they're in the spotlight. There have been a few other athletes who've came out with articles about mental health. Kevin Love was one of the others, but I would definitely go give Calvin Ridley's article a read with the Players Tribune. Now moving on, looking at the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith will be staying with them as they agreed to a 3-year deal that is worth $105 million. Geno last season in 2022 threw for 4,282 yards with 30 touchdowns. Now, Seattle did say that them signing Geno to this deal doesn't mean that they won't look for a quarterback in the draft still. And keep in mind that the Seattle Seahawks this year do have the 5th pick in the draft. Also, looking at those Tennessee Titans who dropped some very shocking news last week, they are going to be shopping their pro running back, Derrick Henry. This is a shock. As you guys know, Derrick Henry is pretty much the Tennessee Titans. As well as last offseason, they lost their other star receiver, A.J. Brown, who we saw in the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. I did mention last week that I did watch an interview that A.J. Brown recently did, and he did say that he wanted to stay in Tennessee. He just wanted a few more $1 million, but Philly was able to offer that, so that's why he went to the Eagles. But it is interesting now that Tennessee will be possibly losing 2 of their main stars in back-to-back off seasons. But there are 4 teams that are expected to be interested in Derrick Henry. Those teams right now are the Atlanta Falcons, the Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, those Buffalo Bills, and the Chicago Bears are also looking at him. Looking at some tags that have happened around the league, the Dallas Cowboys, they have tagged their running back Tony Pollard after he had a great season and was just a few carries under Ezekiel Elliott, as well as the Las Vegas Raiders. They put a non-exclusive tag on their running back Josh Jacobs, and the Jacksonville Jaguars tagged their tight end Evan Ingram. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs said that they won't tag their left tackle, Orlando Brown, and they also released their defensive end, who happens to be from Cleveland, Frank Clark. Now, I did say the Raiders placed the non-exclusive tag on Josh Jacobs, so there are a different couple of ways that the NFL teams can tag players if you guys don't know. They can either place a transition tag, a non-exclusive tag, or an exclusive tag on players. So for Jacobs, if he wants to play on a 1-year franchise tender, he can sign it at any time and have a guaranteed salary over $10 million for this next season. Him and the Raiders would have until July 15th to negotiate a long-term deal. After that deadline, if it passes and they don't sign anything, he would just play this next season on the tag deal. So the non-exclusive tag does protect the Raiders in case a team wishes to sign Jacobs to a long-term deal. In that case, the team would end up losing multiple round 1 picks, or they would have to agree upon compensation for him. For those of you who aren't familiar with what tagging is in the NFL, it's so teams can put players on a fully guaranteed 1-year contract to keep them from hitting the open market and possibly give them more time if they want to reach a long-term deal. So the current rules, it allows for each team to use the tag only once per season on one player. So the tag window is 22 days before the start of the new league year, and the new league year day this year will be this Wednesday, which will be when the players can start signing those contracts this Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The exclusive tag means that other teams can't negotiate with the player. However, it does carry a higher financial burden because the 1-year contract is worth the average of the top 5 salaries of the player's position for the current year, or 120% of his previous salary. And then the third form is the transition tag, which it only pays a player the average of the top 10 salaries at their position over the last season. So this is the cheapest option of the tags that the league has, but it only guarantees a club the right of first refusal to match any incoming offers. And then if the player does leave, they do not receive any compensation. Sean Gilbert is the only player that received a non-exclusive franchise tag and then signed an offer sheet with another team. In 1998, Gilbert was franchise tagged by Washington, and then he ended up signing an offer sheet with the Carolina Panthers and playing in Carolina. But looking at Lamar Jackson, who we all wait to see if he will be re-signing with those Baltimore Ravens or not, he can make history, as there's never been a QB to sign another offer sheet with another team. In 2009, though, the New England Patriots placed a non-exclusive tag on their QB, Matt Castle, but he was then traded to the Chiefs, where he signed a long-term deal. So Lamar could be the first QB to sign an offer sheet with another team. But speaking of another QB, looking at the New York Giants, they have signed Daniel Jones to a long-term deal that is worth 4 years, $160 million. This past season, Daniel Jones threw for 3,205 yards with 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, as well as the Giants have placed the non-exclusive tag on their running back, Saquon Barkley. Also this past weekend, the New York Jets, they did fly out to California to have a meeting with Aaron Rodgers, so it looks like a lot of teams are now waiting the decision of Rodgers to start making decisions on what other teams are going to do. The Jets did say that they were confident to work out a trade for Aaron, but we will see if that will happen. Hopefully it's sooner than later so these other teams can decide what they want to do. Looking at another QB, the Minnesota Vikings, he is currently a free agent, Kirk Cousins. Also, Minnesota did release their veteran wide receiver, Adam Thielen. He is the 3rd all-time in team catches and receiving touchdowns. Adam has played the past 10 seasons in Minnesota, and the sides discussed reconstructing his contract, but they couldn't come to an agreement. He went undrafted out of Minnesota State in 2013, and in 2017 and in 2018, he surpassed having over 1,200 yards, but in the past couple of seasons, he has tried to play through injuries, and he's generated fewer than 750 yards in each of the past 2 seasons. But I'm going to take a break. When I come back, we're going to talk some more football, as so much madness is going on in the league. This is Ball Talk. I'll be right back.
This is WNRV 108.1.
Stick to the cheat code. Stick to the I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. I can't tell on them, I'm sorry.
ATL Jacob, ATL Jacob.
A lot of them go kill if I tell them. And gon' try to snake me out if I let them. My dog came home for a murder, it was fishy. Only time you really make it out is by a stretcher. My clothes told me if I was dead, it'd be better. Man, I regret I had nothing in a stretcher. Can't pop a dot too strong, need a Tesla. Jeans by Miri 2000 for the sweater. My homie got my homie bragging it was hectic. I'm from Chicago, I sleep with my weapon. I know an old head who snitch, he infected. My veil said say they self and they did it. Come on. I done got hot, got nerves. I done went broke twice, kept splurging. Made a play with a in person. Cause that FaceTime really won't work. 2 calls from the jail, I'm emerging. Gotta talk to my dog, it's urgent. Can I talk to my child, it's urgent. Know a set you up for some purses. Them keep dying in the streets. My tape went diamond in the streets. I ain't gonna talk about no murders. I ain't gonna talk about no robberies. I ain't gonna trick up on no scandals. I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. I can't tell on them, I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. I can't tell on them, I'm stick to the G code. 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 No, I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. No, I can't tell on him, I'm sorry. I don't know about nobody's, I'm sorry. I don't know about look, I'm sorry, yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. If you play games, you get played like a toy. You're in a bitch, please don't talk to your star. And it's like the movie, I'm the one that be starring. I'm in New York like I play in the garden. They know I'm ballin' just like I am Harden. Deep, no, my pocket's the largest. They see the foreigns, they be parking. I got these diamonds, they shining on me. That's why these be flying to me. Deep geeking, ain't for no reason. I got a different come every weekend. I got these they hating on me. I got these they waiting on me. They say the internet is undefeated, but now what time have I felt defeated? Yeah, I got them addicted. I gotta watch my back knowing they wicked. Yeah, with me it gets sticky. I blow a ticket cause I got no limit. Yeah, she roll with me cause I'm winning. They hate that I'm spitting, I take that offensive. Yeah, I can just snap and say all my critics, I done it. They hate that I did it. Nah.
I ain't gonna talk about no murders. I ain't gonna talk about no robberies. I ain't gonna trick up on no scandals. I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. I can't tell on them, I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. I can't tell on them, I'm stick to the G code. 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 No, I can't tell on them, I'm sorry. No, I can't tell on him, I'm sorry. I don't know about nobody's, I'm sorry. I don't know about look, I'm sorry, yeah.
This is WNRV 108.1.
What up, man? It's your boy Big Hef, man. I'm tapped in with my homegirl Brandy. Yo, this is Ball Talk. We talking sports. We talking that action. Yeah.
Triple B's, man. People scared to change. We not. So. What you rockin' ZO2s? I'm blowing past some ZO2. You know I got a ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues. Switching lanes, ZO2. I change the game, ZO2. They know my name, ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues. Shouts out to Future, keep guap on me. Shout out to Beast, cause I keep me a lot on me. Shout out to everyone doubting me. Changing the game and they make cause I'm charging fees. Know the name, you see the fame. All my socials got the check. If you talking out of line, put 3 stripes across your neck. Am I under on my X-Man? X-Man without the X. Man, I only fear God. I keep a cross across my chest. What you rockin' ZO2s? I'm blowing past some ZO2. You know I got a ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues. Switching lanes, ZO2. I change the game, ZO2. They know my name, ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues. Pass me the ball and I'm shooting. I hop on the beat just to geek and go stupid. Don't talk if you clueless, just stay in your lane cause my people is moving. With them beats, it's a movement. I dropped out of school cause I'm smarter than students. Only 1 year I was done with the Bruins. Slaving for free, I was offered to move it. Millions of dollars, I took it, I'm human. I'm taking that cash, I don't care if I lose it. Brody on beats and it sounded so fluent. Trust in the brain cause you know what we doing. What you rockin' ZO2s? I'm blowing past some ZO2. You know I got a ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues. Switching lanes, ZO2. I change the game, ZO2. They know my name, ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues. Came in the game and I'm ballin'. I'm looking for comp, I can't find no opponent. I'm looking for problems, I see it, I solve it. If you and I'm about it, then why are you talking? People know me when I'm walking. I'm suited up, I'm Tony Stark. Different around me when I'm parking. I need some space, I drive a rocket. Diamonds on my neck, dripping like a faucet. Big baller brand, know you see me bossing. Never caught a deal, still Randy Moss and had to change the culture, everything revolved. What you rockin' ZO2s? I'm blowing past some ZO2. You know I got a ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues. Switching lanes, ZO2. I change the game, ZO2. They know my name, ZO2. Pay respect and pay your dues.
What's poppin', y'all? Y'all know the voice. It's Toxic Ange. Monday, 5 to 6. Tap in with my girl, Brandy, for Ball Talk.
Back to Ball Talk. Right before the break, I was talking about some football. We are going to continue on because I told you guys so much madness is going on in the NFL right now. So looking at some other news around the league, the Philadelphia Eagles and cornerback Darius Slay get permission to seek out a trade. But the Eagles are still hopeful that Slay remains an Eagle. But keep in mind that Darius Slay did not ask for a trade or demand a trade, so we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see why the Eagles would have given his agent permission to seek a trade if they want him to stay in Philly, but he hasn't asked to leave, and he is one of the top cornerbacks in the league right now, so we'll see if he will be staying with Philly. The Philadelphia Eagles, who were just in that Super Bowl, do have about 10 to 15 free agents, and a lot of them are in that secondary on their defense. And they won't be able to keep all of those free agents, as well as their QB, Jalen Hurts, is seeking a new deal. So I do expect Philly to draft some players at these positions, especially in the secondary. The Eagles have already lost 2 starting defensive players today, as the Chicago Bears are planning to sign the Eagles linebacker TJ Edwards to a 3-year deal. He'll get $19.5 million over the 3 years, with $12 million of it guaranteed. Also, the Eagles were able to re-sign their defensive end, Brandon Graham, to a 1-year deal. That is worth $6 million. And then speaking of the Chicago Bears, I spoke last week of how they said that they were debating on trading that number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, but they said they didn't want to rush it because they knew that they could receive compensation for it, and they did just that. So the Chicago Bears did trade their number 1 pick to the Carolina Panthers, and then the Bears in return will be getting wide receiver DJ Moore, this year's 9th overall pick, along with the 61st this year, and a first-round pick in 2024, and lastly, a second-round pick in 2025. Carolina is expected to be taking that number 1 pick to pick up a QB in the draft. Right now, it looks like that would either be Ohio State's CJ Stroud or Alabama's Bryce Young, as they are the top QBs in the draft this year, but who knows which one of them will be selected first. Some other news around the NFL, though. Miami Dolphins picked up the 5th-year option on their QB, Tua Tagovailoa, as well as the New England Patriots safety Devin McCourty retires after 13 seasons, and the Denver Broncos released their cornerback Ronald Darby and running back Chase Edmonds, as well as the Tennessee Titans released starting center Ben Jones, and the Steelers released their corner William Jackson III. And San Francisco 49ers QB Brock Purdy did undergo his elbow surgery on Friday, and the team expects him to start a throwing progression program in 3 months. Also, the 49ers are re-signing their veteran safety Tayshaun Gibson to a 1-year deal. He started all 17 games last season with the 49ers. Also, the Washington Commanders and their defensive tackle Darren Payne reached an agreement to a 4-year deal that is worth $90 million, with 60 of it in guaranteed money. Payne was the first player this season to be placed on a franchise tag, and now he's one of the first to get a new deal. This mega deal makes him the 2nd highest paid interior lineman behind only Aaron Donald. So Payne was the 13th overall pick in 2018, and he has played 81 of 82 possible games since he's joined the Commanders. He was also able to make his first Pro Bowl and set a career high where he posted 11.5 sacks, which was the 4th most among interior defensive linemen. He also had 64 tackles, 18 of them being tackles for loss, and he had 20 quarterback hits along with 5 pass deflections. Then looking at the Buffalo Bills, they have came to an agreement with their all-pro linebacker Matt Milano on a 2-year contract extension that will be through the 2026 season. This move for the Bills creates approximately $6 million of cap space this offseason for the Bills. This past season, Matt Milano had 72 tackles. 27 of those were assisted, and he also had 3 interceptions. Looking at the Cleveland Browns, they're going to be re-signing their cornerback, A.J. Brown, to a one-year deal. He's still only 24 years old, and he played all 17 games last year where he had one interception. And then the Browns also reconstructed their QB, Deshaun Watson's mega contract. That created nearly $36 million in cap space. So that $36 million will give Cleveland plenty of room to work in free agency for the players they want to sign. There are a lot of free agents at that linebacker position. Looking at some of the top names is Tremaine Edmonds, which I'm saying his name now, but like I said, there's been madness going on in the NFL. We're going to get to him a little bit later because since I've said this, he has signed with a team or plans to. But some more other linebackers besides Tremaine Edmonds: Bobby Wagner, Levante David, Leighton Vander Esch, Quan Alexander, Alex Anzalone, Caden Ellis, and Eric Kendricks are some of the names. Tremaine Edmonds, he is a unique free agent as he's already played 5 seasons in the NFL, but he is still only 24 years old. He's also a 2-time Pro Bowler, and he's played at least 90% of snaps in all 5 seasons with the Buffalo Bills. Also, the defensive tackle market should see a major uptake in pay this season. I spoke a little bit earlier about Darren Payne just got his deal, as well as Kansas City's Chris Jones, the Giants' Dexter Lawrence, Tennessee's Jeffrey Simmons, the Jets' Quinnen Williams, and Miami's Christian Wilkins. They are all up for new deals at that position as well. Also, one of the big free agents at that defensive tackle position was Javon Hargrave. He just signed a 4-year deal, though. Well, he plans to on Wednesday with the San Francisco 49ers. That will be worth $84 million. He's going to get 40 of it guaranteed. This past season, he did have a career-high 11 sacks. And then looking at the wide receiver position, they have a lot of free agents as well. Some of those names are Jacoby Myers, Juju Smith-Schuster, Adam Thielen, Alan Lazard, Odell Beckham Jr., who's going to be coming back from that ACL injury, along with Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell, McCole Hardman, Jarvis Landry, Nelson Aguilar, Kenny Golladay, and Julio Jones. So the New England Patriots will be trading their tight end, Jonnu Smith, to the Atlanta Falcons. This will create some space for the New England Patriots. He will be rejoining Arthur Smith in Atlanta, who was his coordinator when they were together in Tennessee. Also, those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they'll be looking for a new QB now that Tom Brady has retired. There's been some news that he may be returning again because he hasn't officially signed a retirement contract, but he did tweet how that people don't know that, you know, he adopted a kitten for his daughter, and he said it's a lot of work, so he doesn't see himself coming back, but he already came back once, so we never know with Tom Brady. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have shown interest in both quarterbacks Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett. They both had played time in Cleveland, so we'll see if they will be, one of them will be the new QB after the Tom Brady era in Tampa Bay. But looking at the Los Angeles Chargers, today was a surprising move as their running back, Austin Eckler, has made a request to speak with other teams about a potential trade after preliminary talks with the Chargers for a contract extension did not progress. Austin is due $6.25 million this next season in what will be his last season of his contract. Also, the Baltimore Ravens have cut their 6-time Pro Bowl defensive end, Calais Campbell. Baltimore Ravens did say that he could return to the team if they are able to get some cap relief to re-sign him. Also, I mentioned the past couple of shows that Jason Kelce, who was just in the Super Bowl and has been the center for the Philadelphia Eagles for years, could be retiring. But today he did put a message out on Twitter where he said that he will be returning for his 13th season in the league. So we'll see the 6-time Pro Bowler back with the Eagles this season once he's able to re-sign on Wednesday. Also, the New Orleans Saints will be losing their veteran defensive end, David Onyemata, as he signed a 3-year deal with a divisional rival, the Atlanta Falcons. That deal for David in the 3 years is worth $35 million. Also, another Saints player that's going to be going to another divisional rival. I don't know what the Saints are doing going to these divisional rivals, but defensive tackle Shy Tuttle is going to be signing with the Carolina Panthers for a 3-year deal. Also, the Saints could be losing Marcus Davenport on that defense. Those would be 3 big losses to that New Orleans strong defense. And more breaking news from today, QB Jimmy Garoppolo plans to sign a 3-year deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. That deal will be worth $67.5 million, with 34 of it being guaranteed. Derek Carr is now in New Orleans, so Jimmy G will be taking over in Las Vegas. He did start 10 games last season with the 49ers. In those 10 games, they did win 7. But he did injure his ankle late in the season, and he was unable to return for playoffs, but he's healthy now, and he should be ready for all the off-season activities with the Raiders. Jimmy G did play his first 3 seasons of his career in New England, where he was coached by Josh McDaniels, where he was offensive coordinator at the time, but it looks like he will now be with a familiar coaching staff as he will reunite with Josh McDaniels. Also, keep in mind that Las Vegas does have the 7th overall pick in this year's draft. Also, speaking about the Chiefs, earlier I mentioned that they won't be putting the tag on Orlando Brown, and it looks like they'll be moving on from him as they have signed the Jaguars' Jawan Taylor to a 4-year deal that is worth $80 million, and he's getting 60 of it guaranteed. Also, another top left guard that was a free agent, Ben Powers. He's expected to sign a 4-year contract with the Denver Broncos. As you guys know, Sean Payton just recently became the new coach in Denver, and Payton does value his guards very highly in his offensive schemes. Now looking at the Houston Texans, they have signed QB Case Keenum to a 2-year deal. But the Houston Texans do have the 2nd overall pick in this year's draft, where they are expected to still take a QB, so Case Keenum will be their backup. But the Texans are going to be signing another veteran. They're going to be signing running back Mike Boone and veteran pass rusher Chase Winovich. Some other contracts that plan to be signed this Wednesday, the Bills are going to take Cowboys offensive lineman. They're going to sign him to a 3-year deal in Buffalo. And the Dolphins look to sign a new backup QB. They're going to take former Jets Mike White on a 2-year deal. Some other deals that have been agreed to today, the Broncos are going to be getting offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey for the next 5 years. And then the Lions will be getting cornerback Cameron Sutton for 3 years worth $33 million. And the Patriots are going to re-sign their cornerback, Jonathan Jones. Also, the Broncos got their backup QB to Russell Wilson as they signed QB Jarrett Stidham to a 2-year deal that's worth $10 million. So there's been about 50 free agents so far taken off the board in this free agency, but there's a lot more to come, especially in these next few days. And on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time is when they can start signing these contracts. There's still a lot of other players that are free agents and are top players in this league that will be looking for a new team, or we'll see if they'll be re-signing with their current one. Some of the other free agents, though, that I haven't mentioned so far that are still looking for teams, some of the players are like running backs Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, Chase Edmonds, Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Jamal Williams, Alexander Madison, Darnell Henderson, Mark Ingram, Latavius Murray, and Marlon Mack are just some of the names that are free agents in the running back position. And then looking at some of the tight ends that are free agents, we have Dalton Schultz, Mike Gesicki, Hayden Hurst, Irv Smith, Cameron Brate, Austin Hooper. And then looking at some of the interior defensive linemen that are free agents, we have Fletcher Cox, Draymond Jones, who is from Cleveland, and there are rumors that he could be signing a deal with the Cleveland Browns. But some more defensive linemen are Sheldon Rankins and Larry Ogunjobi. And then looking at some players in the secondary that are some big free agent names, we have from the Philadelphia Eagles, James Bradbury, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, as well as Marcus Peters, Patrick Peterson, Eli Apple, Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Jordan Poyer, Donovan Wilson, and Jabril Peppers. And then lastly, looking at some kickers that are free agents, some big names: Matt Gay, Robbie Gould, Mason Crosby, Chase McLaughlin, Brett Maher, Greg Joseph, and Greg Zuerlein are all free agents. This free agency has been crazy so far. There's news coming out left and right. I already can't wait for this next season to start. So I told you guys there was madness every moment today in the NFL. So I did speak about some of these free agents, but some of them have signed with other teams. So starting with linebacker Trayvon Edmunds, I spoke about. He will be leaving the Buffalo Bills as he's planning to sign a 4-year deal that is worth $72 million, including 50 of it being guaranteed. Trayvon Edmunds is going to the Chicago Bears, as well as the Browns have agreed to re-sign center Ethan Posick to a 3-year deal worth $18 million. Now, you guys know he was originally the 4th-string center for the Browns. They had a lot of injuries last season, but coming in at 4th string, having to start, he played a very good game. So he definitely deserves to be re-signed, and I'm not surprised at that. Then another free agent, safety Von Bell. He will be leaving the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's going to be signing with the Carolina Panthers. Von Bell has had 5 interceptions over the past 3 seasons with Cincinnati. Also, looking at the Saints, Cameron Jordan did reconstruct his contract to give the Saints $10 million in the cap, as well as a reconstructed Alvin Kamara's deal that will save them $7 million against the salary cap. As well, I talked about cornerback Patrick Peterson being a free agent. He did reach an agreement to return to the Steelers, so he will stay there. Then also Jesse Bates, the safety, he is expected to sign with the Atlanta Falcons for a 4-year deal that is worth $64 million. And then I also talked about Bobby Wagner being a free agent. There is news that the Cowboys have contacted him. The Dallas is interested in signing Bobby Wagner, and the Seahawks also said they are interested in bringing him back. So we'll see, because Bobby Wagner has been one of the best linebackers in the league these past couple of seasons. So we'll see where he will end up, if he'll end up in Dallas or if he'll be going to Seattle. But that's all the news I have right now for the NFL. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, we're going to be talking about the NBA. Since the regular season is almost over, this is Ball Talk. Don't go anywhere.
This is WNRV 108.1.
Yo, you listening to Ball Talk with Brandy. Yo, sis, pass me the ball.
Give me a beat, Jay.
Lost God.
They see me up now. Hit my line, they like, what's up now? What's up? Diamonds on my neck, the rollie bust down. Bust down. Pull up to the club in Bentley trucks now. They know what's up now. What's up, they see me up now. What's up? Just hit my line, they like, what's up now? What's up? Diamonds on my neck, the rollie bust down. Bust down. Pull up to the club in Bentley trucks now. They know what's up now. What's up now? Yeah. They see me up now, so them hit my line. Facts. I just flooded out the bezel, I can't see the time. Told her hop inside the spaceship, she lost her mind. And I keep getting better like a glass of wine. Come wine for me. Come shake it on me. Shake it. Try to run up, but the on me. Lacoste t-shirts, so I keep the gator on me. Doing what I'm supposed to do, so them haters on me. Yeah. Nothing but ballers on my team, so it's players only. Swish. Pulling up in big foreigns, yeah, it's flavors only. Skirt. And we copping real estate, yeah, gated only. Dripped out when I spit, got the labels on me. Wow. And I'm smoking on a purple label on me. Young from the rock, they jabroni. Facts. Major phony, facts. That ain't your homie. Cap. Paid they tab for a minute, now them they owe me. Up now, yeah. Just hit my line, they like, what's up now? What's up? Diamonds on my neck, the rollie bust down. Bust down. Pull up to the club in Bentley trucks now. They know what's up now. What's up, they see me up now. What's up? Hit my line, they like, what's up now? What's up? Diamonds on my neck, the rollie bust down. Bust down. Pull up to the club in Bentley trucks now. They know what's up now. What's up now? Yeah. Y'all do stars in the ceiling, we do real stars. Facts. Pulling up every roof missing on our cars. Pulling up every bitch on the strippers off. I leave a tip today, she in the crib tomorrow. Money. Get right today, we take a trip tomorrow. Facts. Private jets, you ain't got a shot, we hit the mall. Private section in the club, take them Vickies off. Honey pack on your these, I'm phone on D&D, yeah, I switch it off. Headed back to the city, we can kick it off. Run it back to Sean Jack, yeah, I kick it off. Your friend hating on your line, tell her get lost. She throw that back, I catch it, Randy Moss. Never get a prayer go, but I got the sauce. Hit the Cayman Islands, pull up in that Cayman Porsche. Times and I came in fourth. Hit my line, they like, what's up now? Diamonds on my neck, the rollie bust down. Pull up to the club in Bentley trucks now. They know what's up now. They set me up now. Hit my line, they like, what's up now? Diamonds on my neck, the rollie bust down. Pull up to the club in Bentley trucks now. They know what's up now. Yeah.
WNRV 108.1.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Ebony with an I, and the ball's in her court now. It's my girl Brandy on Mondays from 5 to 6 with her new show, Ball Talk. Check it out.
Hey, money old, I'm on an old school beat. Hey, not Halloween, but I got some tricks that give me treats. Hey, I put my maid in the street, cause that gon' sweep. Street sweeper, she'll keep him. In my pocket got, I done came through and I'm riding in a Tesla. I don't f with bro, so I had to charge them extra. Never say never, but never seen it better. They ask me what's next, my response was pressure. Money come and go, but the business always grows. A connecting dots like I play connect fold. A picking thoughts like an eeny, miny, mo. A nigga super hot, so they gon' blow. Yo, what you mean? On a mission. Got a from Houston, but I'm still not tipping. Tipping 4 foes, chillin' with my bros. Put it in the ocean, so I'm gon' roll. I'm a psychic little running bands up, getting rich. Damn. Told the best friend my big, she a snitch. Money old, I'm on an old school beat. Hey, not Halloween, but I got some tricks to give me. I done came through in a foreign and I'm riding. Say I'm just a son, that's why they shine. When I play, I'm seeking, hiding. That do what I say, so they call me Simon. If they say I'm broke, you a motherfucker liar. If she ride me good, change that hoe attire. If she me good, get whatever you desire. Said I'm good, I said stupid, I'm fire. Yo, what you mean? Yo, what's the hold up? If you talking crazy, get your photo. If you talking crazy, get your stupid rotor. I've been having since the old school Motorola. I'm a psychic, little running bands up, getting rich. Damn. Told the best friend my big, she a snitch. Goddamn. Money old, I'm on an old school beat. Money old. Hey, not Halloween, but I got some tricks that give me treats. Hey, I put my maid in the street, cause that gon' sweep. Street sweeper, she'll keep him. In my pocket got what up? I put my maid in the street, cause that gon' sweep.
This is WNRV 108.1.
Welcome back to Ball Talk. Right before the break, I was talking about the NFL, but right now we're going to move over to some NBA basketball as the regular season is going to be wrapping up on Sunday, April 9th, and there's only about 14 games left for every team. Starting with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're going to be missing Jarrett Allen because he does have an eye contusion, and right now there is no timetable on when he will be able to return. But their star Donovan Mitchell came into this season with 5 games where he had 8 3-pointers in his entire career, but he's already had 5 such games this season in Cleveland. He also entered the season with 9 40-point games in his career, and he's already had 8 in his first season with the Cavs. Last year, the Cavs did lose in the play-in tournament, so they weren't able to make it to playoffs. But right now they are 4th in the Eastern Conference and 5th overall in the whole league. So it looks like they will be avoiding that play-in tournament. Also, if you guys missed the show last week, I spoke about Lonzo Ball and how he would be out for the rest of the season as he would be getting an injection in that knee that he's already had before. But there is more news surrounding his injury. The Chicago Bulls did say that he may need a 3rd surgery on that same knee. And if he does, it would add 6 months to his rehab. He last played on January 14th in 2022. In the past 14 months, he's had 2 knee surgeries already, and both of his recoveries have been slow. A 3rd surgery on the same knee in less than a year and a half is troubling for anybody, but hopefully this will be able to clean up whatever is wrong in his knee. And Chicago will have to start thinking long term about their point guard position, because Lonzo does have 2 seasons at $41 million left on his contract, and that second year of that is a player option. Also, then looking at the New Orleans Pelicans, their star Zion Williamson will be out a minimum of 2 more weeks due to his hamstring injury that occurred more than 2 months ago. The team said that imaging revealed that his hamstring is continuing to heal. The Pelicans, though, have been 8-20 since his injury on January 2nd, and they are currently in a 3-way tie for 10th place. 10th place is the last place to play in that play-in tournament, so hopefully they will be able to reevaluate him and he'll be able to return for the last few games of the season to help his team make that push for playoffs. Also, there is some worry in Phoenix as Kevin Durant left their game last Thursday in a walking boot as he injured his left ankle during warm-ups. He is expected to now miss 2 to 3 weeks, which will be towards the end of the season. So hopefully he will be able to be back with just a couple games left or at the start of playoffs. Right now, Phoenix is at 4th place in the Western Conference and 10th best in the league. Now I'm going to look at the Memphis Grizzlies. If you guys haven't heard all the news surrounding Ja Morant and the situation going on with him, with the gun at the club recently, as well as the other few situations I talked about last week that have occurred with him in the past year or so, like one of his best friends being banned from Memphis FedEx Forum Arena because he was bothering Indiana Pacers players during and after the game, as well as the most recent story. He was playing a pickup game and apparently punched a kid multiple times and pulled a gun out on him as well. But over the club situation, he won't face criminal charges from his Instagram live video because the Colorado police said that they don't have enough to charge him evidence-wise. Right now, Ja is out indefinitely, but the team say he will be out a couple more games, so we'll see when he'll be able to return. Right now, Memphis is the 3rd best team in the West, and they'll need him to make their playoff push, but he does need to get his head on straight and make an example and not get into any more trouble. They're going to need him back, as well as their other star, Steven Adams, is out for his injury for another 4 weeks after he received a stem cell injection for his posterior ligament sprain in his right knee, and that will likely rule him out for the remainder of the regular season. Adams hasn't played since he got injured on January 22nd against the Suns when he was driving for a loose ball. The 9-year vet is averaging 8.6 points and 11.5 rebounds in 42 games this season. There was also news before the last incident with Morant that Steven Adams called for a players-only meeting where he pushed for the team to have better discipline on the road and to not go out when they're on the road, and players felt like he was talking about Ja's behavior off the court. But looking at some of the games coming up as this season will be coming a close, tonight the Phoenix Suns will play Golden State at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Before them at 7:30 is Memphis versus Dallas. And then looking at Tuesday, the Milwaukee Bucks will take on the Suns and the Lakers will play the Pelicans. And then this Wednesday, you guys are going to want to tune in for a good Eastern Conference matchup. The Cleveland Cavaliers will be taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. And then at 10 p.m. on Eastern Time on ESPN. As well on Wednesday, the Golden State Warriors will then take on the Clippers. Also this weekend on Friday at 10:30 p.m. on NBA TV, the Dallas Mavericks are going to be playing the Lakers again. So you guys don't want to miss that matchup of all 4 of those stars, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Luka Doncic, as they all will match up again. Then lastly, that is all for the NBA, but we're going to be looking at the NCAA as Selection Sunday was yesterday for the upcoming March Madness tournament. The first 4 games will be starting in Dayton, Ohio, and then that final 4 will begin April 1st, and the championship game will be April 3rd, and that will all go down in Houston, Texas. Starting tomorrow, though, will be the first 4. Those games will be the Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. They will play Southeast Missouri State. Pitt will play Mississippi State. And Dixon will play Texas Southern, and then Nevada will play Arizona State. Then that first round will begin this Thursday on March 16th. You guys could watch all the games on a couple of different networks. Those channels are CBS, TBS, True TV, and TNT. The teams who claimed number 1 seeds, though, were Alabama, Houston, Kansas, and Purdue. But to look at the rankings after those top 4 teams, number 5 is UCLA, then Texas, Arizona, Marquette, Baylor, Gonzaga, Kansas State, Xavier, UConn, Tennessee, and Indiana. Those are the top 15 teams in the NCAA tournament this year. So you guys definitely going to want to tune into those games starting tomorrow, and then the first round beginning this Thursday. But we also can't forget about the MLB, even though there's madness going on in every other sport right now. Remember, MLB opening day will be at the end of the month on March 30th, and there's going to be 9 divisional matchups on opening day. Right now in spring training, though, the Kansas City Royals are leading with a record of 14-2. Everybody else in the league right now has won 10 games or under. Also, I said I was done with the NFL, but I told you guys news is always happening in the NFL. I spoke about how the Las Vegas Raiders are going to be getting their new QB, Jimmy Garoppolo. A little bit ago to Instagram, Davante Adams posted his story saying, if we haven't talked in the last 3 weeks, don't hit me about this poop. I'm not going to say the word he said. And then he said, thanks. So that can give you guys a little bit of insight of how Davante Adams is feeling with his new QB coming to town. If you guys don't know that he was very good friends with Derek Carr, and that's why Derek Carr, came to Las Vegas for them to team up together, and now Derek Carr is gone. But that was all the madness in the sports world I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning into another show. I can't believe this was the 5th show of Ball Talk with you guys' favorite sports girl. Next up, you guys are going to have conversations with DJ Shawnee Sean and the Bourbon Brothers. But this is Ball Talk with Brandy. I'll talk to you guys next week.
From behind the backboard. What a shot.
This is WNRV.